Stop knocking that around. Hello, Music Multiverse listeners, and welcome to Beyond Your Radio's Album Review Saturdays, episode 37, where we talk brand new albums from this year. And we've got three here today, which those of you who follow the channel on beyondyourradio.com, that this is an extension of our article section. This YouTube version gives you my review in video format, but also sometimes I'm joined by panelists. But unfortunately, this weekend I am in Nashville. At the end, I'd love to add a few more reviews. I've got two this weekend, so stay for that. On the site today, it's Nubia Garcia's Odyssey, Luna Soul with their new album Vita Mors, and Rashad. It's Rashad. We're looking for a few hundred subscribers. Have you subscribed yet? Well, if you haven't, this is the great time to get hooked. Maybe it's this video that does it. If you're already hooked, let's carry on. Album Review Saturdays, episode 37 has a lot of instrumentation going on this weekend. There's a long-awaited jazz record I wanted to get to. Probably one of the most anticipated albums I've was looking forward to this year. Then it was inevitable to go down a stoner heavy rock riff that comes out of nowhere. People are talking about this for album of the year too, which I had to, when Rich says something from X, and I'm not talking about the band, I'm talking about that silly named renamed Twitter. Then after that, I took a big leap, seeing an artist on it with an album cover that name fit a dangerous genre stereotype until I saw this out of place heavy metal band from Springfield, Massachusetts was in the mix of this album and some sort of Nashville-ian project. And considering where I am, why not? An interesting music ride that teeters on the brink of commercialism. It's probably way too convenient, just maybe. But for this album review, Saturday, 2024, episode 37, I'm going to be going at it as best I can here from Clarksville, Tennessee, in the middle of the passing of Hurricane Helene. So let's start off with Nubia Garcia, which was the album Odyssey that I was waiting for. When I look at the potential albums that are scheduled and releases, I do that. It's cathartic for me. This was one that I was completely jazzed about, and that's no pun intended, actually. The title Odyssey, though, had me feeling big, like this was going to be something huge. I had expectations that it was going to be jazz fusion blown away, just like the last record, but I was kind of blindsided between expectation and what I thought I should be hearing and the kind of record delivered. She decided to make this lead track with a vocal, and it's Esperanza Spalding, which everyone in the jazz community would definitely be familiar with, but I found this to be a modest distraction to my expectations. First off, I didn't even catch the saxophone interpretation of Esperanza's vocals the first time out the gate, so be aware of that. But why does that? Because I'm not expecting it. I'm not willingly, immediately drawn to that in the recording because I want Nubia to provide it. Just like I wanted David Gilmour to provide what he did on his album, not have his daughter involved. Although she can have her own record, that's just kind of where I was at. So that's what you have to kind of take. So Odyssey, the title track, that puts us back where I expect and what I admire about Nubia Garcia. And in this, we have it in single strings and a lot more drama than we normally see from her. Very heavy strings. But I'm very aware that the album is heavily saturated with instruments, somewhat outshining the master craftswoman, which is kind of interesting. Even Solstice, which follows and starts with drums, that I really, really think decent center stage and wonderful signature, even as Nubia Garcia finally comes into this. I can, I can't believe how very aware I seem to be of the instruments that are surrounding her or over her. I didn't feel that was where the prior record was, but was I wrong? Does it mean I don't like it? I don't think that's the case. What happens is you need a stronger listen, and that's what I was allotting this, right? And that's not every jazz record that'll happen to you. You can't go through this kind of album as skipping songs or trying to find what you want. You have to go through it. So Odyssey is a jazz record that does a marvelous job, just like The Source, in creating a sound palette from very talented musicians that have a plethora of responsibility and expressionism, as well as profound way of attacking things. And I think this is really cool once I started to get deeper into it. Obviously, there's some mathematical calculative composition that happens here, but I honestly think it feels improv-y more. So while we had the recognizable vocal at the lead, we get more of vocal scat and sing accompaniment in a couple of other places in the recording, which does give us a bit of soul that we're used to, and it's coming from another perspective, which is fine. But that's not all we aren't used to. It's the dramatic percussion that's going on here. That's just immensing. There's soaring power of the string section on this is profound in a lot of places, and the striking piano that finds its place in the rhythm and the pace of it too. And after a third listen, one of which was directly in the earbuds, because you kind of have to go through that, I'm starting to realize the overall composition, the greatness, and the ability of Miss Garcia to step back and enjoy her instruments, passion, and performance staged behind or within the flow of these other musicians that are on this. And a perfect example that blows me away on that is the Seer, Seer, reminding me again why I find her to be one of jazz's newfound greats. In Odyssey, she has found another level, another position in challenging minded jazz with a blend of classic mojo. While I was struck off guard at first, I'm finding my ears have come to terms with this delightful musicianship that she has once again delivered with incredible gusto, flair, and drama, even with that addition of vocal. This is truly, as the title and cover suggests, an odyssey of musicianship. So next up, oh, this one, man. Luna Soul, Vita Mors. Death is life in Latin terms. At least that's my assumption. And come on, I can't be that far off given the power of the riff and the full tilt sludge groove on audio display here. Now, see, this should have been the music that fit those dark mountain covers, those horror houses and spooky lots that are being barely lit by a sliver of moonlight, and your faith is being stripped by some hollow red eyes of whatever the fuck you think it is that's guarding it. Yeah, these Denver, Colorado stoner blues rockers with a southern flair and passion really know riff Latin, my friends. Believe me, this is heavy rock blues album with gusto, gut, and gamble to be deserved of a full blast open window car ride experience through the wilderness.
Red cabin on the back porch, calling out my name. Full moons are out tonight, the world is going insane. Hellhounds in the mountains, can't you hear them cry? Go grab my mojo, evil's on the rise.
Why? Let me give it to you a little low and easy, because there is no substitution for an album like Vita Mors. There's nothing more precious than an immediate rock connection in this environment. It's a pleasure to hear bands that fully commit to the riff, the production surrounding it, and tenacity everything and everyone has to bring. Wait, yeah, that's right. Even the lyrics this time. This is where I love this. It's clever, changing in pitch, speed of delivery without losing a hint of the heaviness. We get hit time after time with Southern dark places emulating a heavier, like a Pride and Glory, if you remember them, or, and of course, shades of Jerry Cantrell, his solo work in that kind of sludge feel, which is great. But really, super digging this is their ability to make it rock and lyrically connect as they go band akimbo from packing up their mojo because the evil's on the rise, to the calling of the hangman to satisfy his soul, and the Southern groove terror riff that houses this lyrical start. Some call me a savior, some call me the beast, some call for money. I'm surrounded by thieves. You know where you are, you know where the band stands and how they're ready to throw it all down for you in your ears, leading you to some rapturous musical ruin that you're just getting ready to soak it up like some crime scene mobber. But maybe that's a bit too much. That's just me, as he says in the album. Luna Soul is going places now with Vita Mors. If they're not, then rock and roll is as dead as some people claim it to be. There's not a rock demographic that doesn't fit, not an audio soul that shouldn't want to be saved by this hard rock blues band. They're not creating anything new here, but they're doing it fantastically, letting the power of the rock possess them in death or life. And it really doesn't matter how it ends. It's the musical ride that gets you there. And I, for one, would rather be tossed out of a squealing, dusty Ford Mustang in 1968 at high speed with Luna Soul looking battered and thrown on the ground, like some sort of rock-possessed Steve McQueen. Better get running to your record store, or go to Bandcamp, or to Ripple Music, who brings this to you full-fledged. However, you're going to represent. It's time to prove we're not at the apocalypse of rock just yet, but I'm sure we all think we can see it from here. So finally, the third album, Rashad. It's Rashad. Or is it Rashad? I don't even know. You want all kinds of confusion? You've come to the absolute incorrect place in the music multiverse. Let's start off with the pronunciation, the naming, even if I don't have that album cover or picture. It's not going to be said correctly. I can't tell you. I'm tired of this bullshit spelling that people do. It's just making it harder and harder to hear. And you're in the sound business. So that's like, should be a cardinal sin to misrepresent the spelling, because sound is everything. I could list a few names here, but this is more about Rashad. Or Rashad. If I'm looking to the cover art to clarify, well, it clarifies stereotypical fashion, doesn't it? Or does it? No, this is not a rap hip hop artist who's challenged spelling, word section and selection and the establishment. No, I would think he would, but no, the dark cover and the chains. No, that's not where we're getting. What we're going to get here is a straight up gangster. Nope. He's got a Nashville good old boy singer, songwriter, music, vocal, country, hip hopper with a love for a lot more than this cover suggests. That's all that remains. Heavy metal rockers in this. You've got Danny Warsnop from Asking Alexandria in here too. And this has a commercialized impression, which is dangerous for people like me, because the country is cliche, and when it gets commercialized, it's even double whamming it down, and I don't like all that. But they got Ice Nine Kills. They're opening for Metallica. They're on Cottonmouth Rock Mix on this record. If that's got the likes of Ice Nine Kills and Danny Warsnop and all that, then there's a connection here, because Warsnop's a country guy too, with that, even though he's in a rock band. So It's Rashad has some interesting connection to a rock environment, but where it really soars is in the writing and the ability to chameleonize the cliches, wrap them up pretty cool in like a suspicious packaged album. I was completely caught off guard. I know it falls in line with Hardy and Morgan Wallen, but it meets that like Marlene and the Sons of Disaster kind of thing. But I felt that this writing had a bit more surprise to it, with songs like Proof. And the full-on country Drowning Man. Rashad, like the others I've mentioned, suffer from developing albums that are way too long. This album is too long. There's 19 tracks on here. I don't think it was necessary. I'm not saying anything was a throwaway, but maybe you want to save some stuff for later. However, his guest vocal accompaniments and the twang to rock keeps this on a plateau without falling off dramatically. It's commendable, as well as very easy to listen and appreciate, despite the usual tendencies to avoid country that falls into popular pitches of rap and rock, or even both. As it's Rashad does, but does well enough to keep my interest in expanding genre blend that seems to be going on right now. Nashville yields some very talented acts, passionate musicians, and well-crafted singer-songwriters. And spelling aside, I think it's damn good to see what he's done here and what can be done further. So now on to these two extras that I've got for you. The first one is Mir. A softer progressive rock band, but with a quiet, triumphant, and bombastic, ethereal, spiritual anthem kind of approach. that stretches, makes it unique as they flow from a violin classical progressive part into pop rock soaring ballad with wonderful uplifting punch. It's male and female vocal, and they work well given the folk-induced prog that goes on. Instruments with strings, synth, and even everything else in between. It just seems to be a lot of instruments going on. The flow of it is something you really take hold of and appreciate, even if this is the type of prog that might be a little out of your wheelhouse or unusual for you. At times you feel you're listening to a little bit of Rush in how it's put, but I'm also thinking of the Murder Wall by Capricorn's Constant, kind of had that folk side, and then there's even hints of Marillion for that pop. So there's a lot of good things to think about here, and they've had multiple records. It's quite the listening experience, and there's some pure satisfaction you get out of this, and hopefully, I really think it's a high recommendation. Will it be in the top 24 of 2024? Probably not, because of that soft kind of pace that it has, and it's not bringing you anything new, but it's doing wonderful things with certain types of prog and bringing it all together. It's a good record from start to finish. So we go from this uplifting spiritual thing to Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Wild God. I should have known from the cover. It's just so hard with Nick. There are songs you like and there's things, but this has no melody at the beginning. There's a song at the beginning where he's saying, never mind, never mind, never mind. Well, I was kind of thinking, yeah, never mind. Maybe I shouldn't. The first three songs, it's very difficult unless you're a Nick Cave fan and you're looking for this. There is a lot here that is, well, I hate to say it like this, but there's a lot here that seems self-indulgent to some degree. And I missed it. I missed most of it. That does get more melodic as the album goes on toward the back side of it.
After that, nothing ever really hurt again. Nothing ever really hurt.
But it's very dark and just his vocal doesn't help tell the story, and the lyrics are not impressive enough to make you want to go down this journey as far as I'm concerned. I know there's fans of Nick Cave that may, tell me they hear something else, and I obviously only did twice through with this album. It's difficult to listen. But I really would like to hear your opinions. Did you know these albums? Have you looked at them? Are you going to go down that rabbit hole of all the Mirror records, or take on Rashad? That's a interesting to get your opinion. So please like, comment, subscribe. We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Of course, we've got videos, podcasts, and all those things that about albums, bands, artists, anything we can get our hands on. Go Beyond Your Radio with us. And of course, until tomorrow when we do Unknown Sundays featuring Max Richter. Happy listening.